I'd like to call our August 6, 2026 school board work session to order. Can you hear me? Does it sound like it's working?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, just making sure. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Dr. White, Mr. London,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson, Ms. Clement,
Yes, ma'am. Item 2.01, major construction project updates, Mr. Todd Kegels.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Soltis. First, I'm very happy to say that our elementary schools are ready to go, and will be done with the exception of punch list items before school starts for students next week. So very pleased. Branch has done a fantastic job. They've been very sensitive to our needs to have everything done and not have disruption those first week of school, and kudos to them. So thanks to them, and thanks to our guys from Scansco. We have Eric Burkholder and Kamal Khalil here to give us updates on the progress of all the projects.
Good evening or afternoon, board members, superintendent, assistant superintendent. It's going really well at the CTE facility on our site work. We've completed the installation of the permanent fence. I think we have one gate that is waiting. It's supposed to be in at the end of August. The interior or the exterior window cleanings continuing. We've started putting the top coat of asphalt on all the parking lots, and we're coordinating with VDOT for the traffic signal. I do have an update on that. I think Mr. Greenway was wondering about it. Friday, we're going to put out our message boards, let them know that it's getting ready to become active. That'll stay on till Monday. Monday and Tuesday, they'll be flashing, and then Wednesday morning, they should be active. So if you want to tell your constituents to start paying attention to that. So, Area D, we had two of the original boilers that were put in there had defects in them. We caught that during the commissioning phase. So we've already switched them out and put two new boilers in, and now we're going back through the commissioning of those two boilers. That'll start next week, but I think we corrected the problem. They've continued installing the access control, doors and hardware, continue final painting. They're still working on their punch list. They're roughing in the conduits and disconnecting the construction lab in the booths, and they started installing lockers. They also, this recently, after I prepared this, they started putting up all the signage for the doors, and it's starting to look really nice. I do not have any pictures on this one because it was after I prepared this. But in Area A, we finished putting in all the cosmetology equipment that we're going to at this point. We do have a few things like chairs and stuff that we don't want anybody sitting on, so they won't be installed until after we get closer to completion. Interior doors and hardware, punch list, final cleaning and painting, and locker installation. Areas B and C, we finished tabbing the HVAC system on that side of the building, working on they completed pulling all the wires for the access control. They've been installing a lot of casework, doors and hardware. We did get the dust collection system finally completed in the welding lab. We're starting to put lifts up in the auto lab, and we've started installing lockers in that area also. As you can see there from the pictures, there's the logo that is at the main entrance. The second picture is the exterior window cleaning. That's some of the perimeter fencing out back, and that's some of the cosmetology casework. So that was, they tore all the piping connecting the boiler system, and then the second picture is where they put it all back together. That is some of the closets in the plumber's closets, so you'll be able to work through 2x4 systems when you're installing stuff and trying to plumb stuff in. That's casework in Area B. I think that's the engineering lab on the second picture. There's a post lift installed in the automotive labs and the dental lab casework. Trying to read here. Oh, that's the in-ground lifts, and then that is your dust collection system in the welding lab. And did anybody have any questions for CTE?
No, but it sure is exciting
I
to see
know.
it
It
coming
looks-
together.
It's
it is,
looking
like,
really nice.
so
It's
coming
come
together
together.
this
I know we're kind of at a slow part where we're just building out labs, and I'm used to having 60 or 7 people there. Now it's like 20, so but it's coming together. It's just going to take time.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it
Looks
looks really good.
fantastic. We're very proud of it.
Good afternoon. Todd probably said the most what I'm gonna say, but this was done probably a few days ago again. But towards the finish, and we're actually finished. Punch list items, some minor stuff, maybe touch up of paint on the walls, maybe ceiling tiles, minor stuff. Doors, maybe some of the hardware might not, key would get stuck, like really, really minor stuff. I just came back from Glencoe, and there were inspection of the electrical, and which is went well. Maybe some of the landscaping we need to maybe clean up the parking lot, and maybe some of the where the playground is, maybe some material left from before. So it's a bunch of cleaning, and a punch list. Like I said, they're working on them as we speak. For both schools, like it's the same items. Mainly commissioning. We have maybe a little bit of issues, but they're working that out too. The other school, like I said, it's the same thing, the same minor stuff. The main thing is commissioning, because if we find something that we have to fix, that we need to fix it right away. But we haven't had any like glitches, so everything went well. It's probably my last presentation, so nice meeting all of you, and sorry for putting up with our. Thank you, those. If we can, I'll show you some pictures. I took some pictures. This is for the elevator. They modernized it, like they made it better. That was an extra thing that they did. The one on the right, it's the baseball thing that up on the top of the hill. And if we go to the next one, this is the hallway that's leading to the dining area. It looks great. The one on the right, it's the library, but I took that one because of the wall. You could see the glitches, like the touch up of the paint. And this is before and after on the gym. It looks fabulous. They did a good job. For the next one, this is on here in Glencoe. This is like when you walk in, the logo shows up, and they just wax the floor. It looks great too. And then the gym, again, it looks like 100% better. If you go to the next one, this is the library on the left hand side. They installed these sound panels. It'll keep from the noise from happening. And the cafeteria. I'm sorry, not the cafeteria. The one on the right is they replanted the trees. They were closer to the curb. They pushed them up a little bit. That's the hallway, like on the upper level. You could see the wax floor. You could see the walls, the ceiling. It's all brand new stuff. On the landscaping, they added a few brushes on the right hand side. This whole area was talking about the cleaning. If you could, like some debris on the left hand side, some posts, some maybe construction stuff that need to be taken care of. They'll clean it. Again, it's a good job. They did a fantastic job, and we tried to stay ahead of the game, and I think we ended up on top.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you for
fantastic.
coming and
Well, thank
presenting
you.
all the time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we appreciate everything.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, as Mr. Cake has alluded to, Branch and Skanska have worked so well together on this project, and Kamal, you've done a nice job keeping us updated.
Thank you, I
Really
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll miss seeing you every work session.
I know. Are you gonna miss us?
Absolutely.
Welcome to come back.
Yeah,
I will.
it's a culmination. That seeing that finished product,
I know.
what we had to go through to get
Looks
to those
really good.
I know I bring up the fun stuff, but it was it really puts it in perspective that it was all worth it. So thank you. Dr. Soltis, I wouldn't mind if you have a chance. I'd like to go out there before school starts if you've got time.
Yes, sir.
Just for 30 minutes, 45
Yes, sir.
minutes.
You just let me know when.
Libraries are done, everything.
Yeah, everything is done.
Yeah. That was the only part I was.
They're moving into these classrooms. Some teachers they're setting up their stuff, and it's by next week everything will be done.
Do they need any help, Todd? I mean, are they getting the help or any of the teachers?
Not that I've heard.
Okay. All right.
They got it under control.
Yeah. Good.
We walk every day and see how they're progressing and they're doing good. And so I mean, to each his own. Some people like certain styles. Some people like
They want to make it their home.
Absolutely.
They live there, good portion of the year.
Thank you again.
It was fun. Jamie and I were toured a bunch of retirees around down at Glen Cove, and they hadn't seen any of the construction progress, so it was real interesting to see things from their perspective where you really can't recognize those buildings anymore on the inside. It's pretty impressive.
Actually, for Cundiff, maybe Todd could meet us if you got time.
Happy to.
Tuesday or Wednesday or something.
Well, I'm in California until Thursday, but I'll be back at work next
That's
Thursday.
rough life.
So.
We'll FaceTime him.
Okay, Alaska.
Right. Yeah, make him on his.
I would love to do that, actually.
You
No,
Is that sarcasm?
Yeah, I think so.
Just a little.
Yeah.
But
And
I'll
we
be happy
could
for
do
him.
it at 8 a.m. What time will it be out?
Yeah.
He's like 5:30.
No, but that's too early for a realtor.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So we won't do that.
Oh,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same here. Thank you.
Item 2.02, minor construction project updates, Mr. Todd Kagels.
Yes, ma'am. We have a minor capital request concerning the HVAC system out at Glenver Middle School. We have two units out there, both of which are partially responsible for dehumidification and bringing fresh air into the building. They primarily dehumidify and reduce CO2 levels. They basically are just pumps that pump in fresh air all the time. They have to dehumidify that air as it comes in. One of them needs significant repairs and the other one needs to be replaced. This is, you can kind of see the damage if you're interested in, getting this deep into the woods, but you see the little splits at the ends of all of these tubes. That's where we've had some freeze damage and some corrosion issues. And you can see the unit itself sitting right over here. It wasn't replaced when that school was renovated or I guess rebuilt when they did the middle school. It was, they upgraded the controls at the time, but now the controls are obsolete. You can't get parts for them anymore, so there's really no option to repair this one. We're repairing the other one. We need to replace this one. It's not inexpensive. The large one that we were looking at right there is MAU1. It's a makeup air unit. That just means it's the unit that brings in air from the outside. The cost of that's about $420,000. And then the smaller one, makeup air unit 7. On that one, we're not replacing it. We're going to do some repairs to the burners and the reheat heat exchangers on there, and that is a cost of about $80,000. So what we're requesting is that the board appropriate $500,000 from minor capital special projects to replace the one unit and repair the other one. If there's consensus to do that, we would put that on the consent agenda for the next meeting.
How old is Unit 7?
I don't know the age, but it's original to the building also. I'd have to go back and
So you're looking
see
at
when it was
early
in there.
2000, late 1990s when the middle school was built.
Now, yeah, and 7, make sure I'm telling you on the right. Yeah, 7 is the one that we're repairing, and those are burners. Those are gas burners. That's a long life expectancy already for gas burners. So what we're doing on that one is actually removing the gas burners and putting in a hot water coil, which requires the installation of a boiler there also, because it's dangerous. The gas burners we have there in the ductwork, none of the none of us are a fan of having the gas in the ductwork the way those were designed. And for our service personnel, they have a gap about this big that they have to get under those things on their backs and try to service all that stuff. So it'll make it safer in addition to putting them back in service.
Did we look at a replacement cost instead of just a repair cost?
No, the air handler itself doesn't need to be replaced. Those things typically last the life of the building. Those are indoors, not like the one that was on the roof. The air handler itself is actually indoors, and then the burner sets right up. Well, I may actually have a picture of it. Yeah, so this is it right here. This is the lower left picture is the underside of it. The burner kind of sits right there where I have my cursor. It's this piece right here, this sort of silver piece. And so we're replacing just that section. The bigger box, the air handler right there, typically lasts the life of the building. So that's just a big fan is all that is with the ductwork leading into it. So they last the life of the building typically.
Not sure about commercial, but residential, you're lucky if you get 20 years. So
Yeah, right.
I would assume commercial's fairly close.
Right. And these, of course, have been repaired many times. It's not like, the first time we had to repair it, we stopped. So,
But that is a really good point. The equipment that we've had that in the past ran for 30, 40 years, that doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No, that's right. Nothing in today's world seems to do that. What's the balance in our minor? I should know that.
580,000.
But we got a.
You'll have
We'll
another
get
one in January.
replenished here shortly. Yeah.
And that is excluding all the projects that the money had already been allocated to.
that's correct. It's
Todd.
encumbered.
So like the softball field, that money's encumbered. Nothing that is not already done. This is extra money beyond that.
Well, my point is, unless our illustrious counterparts stick it to us again and again, then we'll be replenished.
Yes.
We're really replenished now, but for some reason they want us to wait 6 months.
Yeah, and one thing to know about these units is that the lead time on the big one is December or so if we order them
wow.
now. So
Yeah.
they're a ways out. Custom built.
Fine with me.
Me too.
Yeah, it doesn't look like to me you have much choice.
We don't.
Thank you, guys.
Do we have other minor capital updates or?
We have only project updates now.
Okay.
That was the bad news. Now we got the good news. Save the best for last.
He kind of went out of order.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were doing that one first. Sorry.
It's okay.
Can we just go
Yeah,
ahead
go
then?
ahead. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So on the project updates, Hidden Valley Middle School. You've seen lots of pictures of this one because it's taken us all year. Remember, we did that during breaks and all across the course of the school year. These are before pictures. Now that we're done, we're able to go back and pull up our before pictures, and you can see the poor condition of the ceiling and just generally the poor lighting in the common spaces there, the libraries, the hallways, the lobby. And then this is what it looks like now with the new ceilings and new LED lighting throughout. It looks really nice. It has made a tremendous difference. It's like, you think, well, you remodel a school and you have to do all these things. Just doing the ceiling and the lighting in this school. I actually used to teach there a long time ago, and so I'm very familiar with it and how it looked, and it looks fantastic now. So we are done with that project. Glenver Middle School, we had the Family and Consumer Sciences room. That room was, I don't know how she was teaching 30 kids in there. It was tiny. We were actually able to take a wall in there and move it back and take the two classrooms and balance the size between them and then install some new counters and cabinetry and appliances in there and just make a huge difference in this space. She had one workstation before. Now we have 4 workstations in there. Still probably not what you'd like for 30 kids, but now it's equivalent to what we have in our other middle schools. And our guys did this work. They furred out all the walls, moved the other wall, took care of the ceilings, new lighting, and all that stuff. Did a fantastic job on that. And that one is not finished yet, but they were finishing up the countertops today, and it should be completely finished before school starts. Glenville Elementary School, if you think all the way back to this time last year, you all approved money to add staff restrooms, but we couldn't do the construction during the school year because we had to cut up the floors and that sort of thing. So we did that all this summer, and those are done. So they have two nice new bathrooms on that end of the building. This section right here, this on the picture on the right, that's the section that was built out from that wall, and then the restrooms were added. This is before it's done, of course. Now it's all trimmed out and painted, and looks great. The bathrooms look great, and the staff is super excited to have restrooms on that end of the building, so they have to walk all the way down to the office to use the restroom. And that is done. Final inspections were today, and all that work is completed. William Byrd High School, remember just a meeting or two ago, you approved money to fence the practice fields. That started yesterday, and they set about half of the posts. The other half of the posts go kind of behind where this picture was taken from. Those were set today, so all of the posts are in place, and they'll start putting up the wire up. The idea is to have all that finished before kids start school next week. I had been in touch with the guys installing the solar energy system at RCCTC. It is almost through engineering. They were actually out at the school on Wednesday taking some final measurements for drain pipes and things like that could be in the way on the roof, and making some final modifications. We do have all the paperwork we needed for safe harbor. Remember, that's what we had to meet so we could get the 30% tax incentive there. We did get all that documentation, the serial numbers for the equipment, and all of that stuff has been provided. And we get the final drawings next week. And hopefully, shortly thereafter, we'll get through the AEP approval process and be ready to start construction of that system. Out at Hidden Valley High School, finally glad to be able to say this one is done. Remember, we installed the artificial turf over the winter, but we couldn't finish the sidewalks and the paving there that we tore up, getting the heavy earth moving equipment in and out of there. So we had to wait until soccer season was over, and now it's completely finished. So they've got a nice new facility. All we got to do is get some grass growing in there, and we're calling this one complete. It's really nice over there now, much better than it looked back during the soccer season. And William Byrd Middle School, we're building that softball field over there. They've, I think this picture on the right kind of shows it the best. You can see the warning track back here on the left, and then you have a nice area of really healthy root zone mix there. And then the infield dirt has been delivered, all except we were one load short, which we're having delivered tomorrow. They'll finish spreading that, and once they finish spreading it, they'll come back and put the heads on the irrigation system, and then we'll start laying sod. The idea is to have that done by the start of September, the end of August, and then we'll work on the fencing as soon as all of that stuff is done, and we'll be pretty much finished out there by the end of September is the plan. Weather permitting, and nothing unforeseen happens, but it looks fantastic right now. So that's it. Any questions?
Today it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Have fun in California.
Expect a 5 a.m. call.
Yeah. Virtual tour.
Item 2.04, recommended policy updates, Dr. Haley Poland.
Good afternoon. We have three policies and two administrative regulations that we are recommending to move to the consent agenda. Student records administrative regulations. Those we took the VSBA policy recommendations. We added the FOIA update. We've removed the 45-day inspection records of the records and added the provision of copies and elimination of fees to parents to align with the law. And then 7.0901 is student transcripts. We updated legal references, notification to parents, revised and reviewed dates, and same thing for 7.0901 AR. And then the last one that we have is 9.14 AR, which is school nutrition management procedures. The big piece there is from increased the threshold for sending formal unpaid meal collection from $50 to $100. So Dr. Hughes worked on the first ones, and Susan and Jamie worked on the last one. But if you have any questions.
And we're seeing this more and more where the VSBA used to send out policy updates twice a year and that was it. But as they've changed over lawyers, basically they're updating it to make sure the manual is staying up to date. So that's why you got more updates, and sometimes they were waiting on laws to actually go into effect before they create a policy to enforce it.
Thank you.
This is their favorite part of the meeting, by the way.
Oh yeah, she's a lot quicker than you.
That's good. Item 2.05, update to RCPS local plan for the gifted, Mr. Ben Williams.
Okay. Madam Chair, members of the board, the Virginia Department of Education requires that school divisions maintain a local plan for education of the gifted that's board approved. We currently have such a plan, but if anytime we make changes to that plan, then we need to take it back to the board for approval. We do have a few changes that we'd like to make for this school year. The first is the addition of a new, more objective and defensible identification process, which is included in the attachments to the agenda item. Rolling screening rather than screening only 2 times a year, so that if we find you eligible, we can provide immediate services. And language basically has been updated, very, very minor things there. A few changes that add additional programming that we're doing with our gifted students, and an additional goal that of providing advanced mathematics curriculum at the elementary level. We're still working on that one. So by and large, we're talking about adding things that are good for kids, more defensible, and basically are relatively routine, but are helping move the program forward. So if you're okay with those changes, then we request that be placed on the consent agenda for the next meeting.
Yep. Thank you. Item 2.06, artificial intelligence updates and next steps. Ms. Kim Bradshaw, Mr. Joe Legault, and Mr. Mike Riley.
So
Put you in the middle.
I told them I would kind of lay the groundwork for this.
Okay.
So as you guys know, AI continues to emerge as a technology tool. Talked about it in convocation this morning, how we can't really bury our head in the sand and pretend it doesn't exist. Kids are using it. So on one of our Carnegie visits, we actually went to a school district, Pfeiffer, who had done a really amazing job of laying out how they were going to support AI, teaching it to kids at the lower elementary school levels, and then create zones to where basically the teacher can say, okay, if this is a zone 0, that means AI is not to be used on the assignment, all the way up to a zone 2, which would be like AI being able to be used for professional presentation. So we want to be really strategic in what we do, while at the same time I've asked Mike and Kim to work with their supervisors to look at screen time usage. So the balance of trying to reduce screen time, but also teach kids how to use AI ethically and appropriately as a tool, but not to replace their own cognitive development with the skills they need to be successful.
Are you advocating, or are you?
Well,
what
not
are you doing?
now, but I would have then. I'd have got a lot
Depends
better.
on what side of it you're on.
Right. It's a matter of perspective, I suppose.
It is.
So I'll turn it over to you
All
guys.
right. This is something we've been working on for a couple of years now. We actually had a work group 2 years ago that was pulled together across the state of Virginia. Dr. Soltis was a part of that, where we got together with a bunch of divisions, really started looking at how do we want to approach AI from a division level. What does it look like? What should it look like in the classroom? What does it look like at the elementary versus high school? Because it should be different. What are our philosophies around that? So we spent a year kind of working on that. Then this past year, we got with our supervisors, like Dr. Soltis said, we actually visited a school, saw some of the things that they were doing. And this spring then sat down with our supervisors and really hammered out some documents that we now have on our website that let parents, families, school board, teachers kind of know what direction we want to go with this. Of course, the first thing we want to make sure everybody understands is that we want to make sure that we're teaching students to think with AI, not instead of letting AI do the thinking for you. The big term you hear a lot in education now is cognitive offloading, where kids take the thinking and let AI do the thinking for them. And that's not at all what we want to make sure happens. We want to make sure students are still taught to think, and then we can use AI as a tool once it's developmentally appropriate. So on our website, we've got that all laid out. We actually have a message to families that they can click on and kind of read, and it explains a lot of this, the work behind this, and our philosophy for it. And we've got 10, I'll let you scroll down because I can't see it there, 10 guiding principles for AI in education. The first is we want to make sure that our use of it is ethical and responsible. That's going to be the key of anything we do. We want to make sure that we're using it where we're supposed to and how we're supposed to. We want to make sure that it's accessible for all our students. This past year, Jeff led the charge to make sure we've got a platform that's safe for our students to use, that teachers can use with students. Magic School's that platform. We continue to work with them. Again, Jeff and his team work really hard to make sure any platform we use is secure and private. They sign the agreements they're supposed to. And again, we always tell our teachers, you never put identifiable information, whether it's your information, student information, in there. We tell our students the same thing. You got to be real careful about what you put in any of these platforms. It may seem secure, it may seem private, but nothing you do online is that. And that's the message we always want to give our students. Again, you can't remove human oversight and control from those things. We make sure that our teachers understand they're the ones that are in control of that in their classroom. We want to be very transparent. We want to be transparent with our families, with our communities, with our stakeholders in terms of how we're using it, what's happening with it in the classrooms, and what's not happening with it in the classrooms. We want to engage stakeholders, students, parents, teachers, community members as AI evolves. And if you've paid attention at all, it's evolving even more rapidly than we could have imagined. We want to make sure that we're staying in communication with those key stakeholders to make sure, one, that we're doing what's appropriate with our students, but two, that they are prepared to enter a workforce where this is going to be something they're going to have to deal with and have to work with. And we want to make sure that they're ready to leverage that. We want to make sure that pedagogically it's effective. Again, we don't want cognitive offloading. We want to make sure we're still teaching our kids to think, but at the same time, making sure they're ready to use this as a tool. We want to make sure that we still encourage creativity and critical thinking. Those are two of our big C's in Roanoke County. We want to make sure that that, again, is not offloaded to AI. We want our students thinking, we want them creating, and we want them to eventually be able to learn how AI can support that, but not replace that. We've got to make sure we have continuous professional development. Again, this field is changing more rapidly than we could even imagine. So we want to, as best we can, stay on top of it and make sure we're doing right by our students. And then, of course, the key in everything is we want to make sure that there's a balance there. AI should complement, never replace teaching. There's always going to be that need for that human connection. We know that. And we want to make sure our staff here that's certainly not what we're looking at. But those are kind of the 10 tenets of what we believe and the direction that we'll go as we move forward, understanding that at the center of all this is making sure that our students are continuing to become opportunity ready, that they're developing those communication, collaboration, and critical thinking skills apart from AI. They're also learning how AI is going to be impacting the workplace and can use those tools to enhance their ability to be productive citizens when they leave Roanoke County Public Schools. So it's kind of that balance to make sure that we're striking that in our classrooms. Towards that end, We wanted to make sure that teachers understood clearly what expectations were in the classroom and make sure that families understand what those expectations are. So one of the things our supervisors did, and I'm going to let Mr. Legault discuss a little bit, if created what we call zones for AI, just in terms of where it's acceptable to do certain things with AI and where it's not. So Mr. Legault, I'll let you take over here.
All right, thank you. Yeah, this was a critical part of the work that we did with FAS and through this process over a couple of years. Some interesting things that we're learning about AI is that it's embedded in so many things. And so a student might not even know that they're using AI when, Grammarly pops up in their Word document and it's helping them draft a paper, but it's there and it's ready to go. And so that education about what it is and where you can use it and how you can use it, we need to guide our students on that sort of thing. Funny story I had an issue where a student's paper, when we washed it through our copy leaks, which is our plagiarism and AI catcher, that kind of thing, just to make sure that things are up and up, it came back as 100% AI. And so called parent just to say, let's talk about this and see that. And the parent was like, I told him to put it in Chat GPT because I couldn't read the first draft myself. And so here's the parent going, well, yeah, just push it through. So many people are using it for so many different things. It's like, where's the line? Well, this is trying to help everybody understand the line. So what we've directed our teachers to do during this work week, when we've met with all of our staff out there, is we're going to have this in all syllabi. So this is going to be laid out. And we're also, most content areas are labeling every activity, which zone it is. And so the large majority of what we're going to do is going to be zone 0. Like, we need to see their authentic work. We can't coach them to better work if we're not seeing their authentic work. So zone 0 is really like kind of the baseline. And I mean, it's and as you'll see with Mrs. Bradshaw, when we talk about, what we're doing in the different grade levels, this really is upper grade levels, Yes, go ahead.
One quick question. So before you go past zone 0, and again, this is in somebody that's learning about AI in our business to try and enhance and do some things that we do, but is there a way to be defensible about going to zone 1, zone 2? So for instance, when a student turns in a paper, I understand at least in the infant stages, the last couple of years, you could scrub it as you said, and find that it was AI generated or AI terminal, whatever the way it is. But I'm sure that as we progress, AI progresses.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I want to be able to turn in this paper, but I don't want to be caught for plagiarism. You can put in these words are we somewhat, and I'm just asking this to understand as we go through it, are we somewhat have to be trusting, or can you? Is there a way to because if I said I want to put this paper in, but I don't want to get caught by my teacher for plagiarism, so you need to, word this, and I'm sure it'll do it, and word it in such a way that it looks like I'm doing it, but when she puts it in AI to see if I'm cheating, that she can't tell it. You can tell it those things, that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Do we have to somewhat be trusting? I don't know.
Well, yes, and it's we have to look at kind of going back to the way we used to teach writing, where we're involved in the recursive writing process. So we're going to do a draft. You're going to give me an outline. You're going to give me your ideas and your topic, and we're going to go through this together so that I know that you are generating ideas and I'm helping you with your grammar and your structure and your introductions and your conclusions and things like that. When things are done not with us as teachers, it's kind of the abyss out there, right?
Yeah.
And AI will outpace our ability to see it, and then we'll catch up, and then it'll outpace it again and catch
Right.
up, and it is moving so fast. There's just hardly any way for something like a public school system to stay up
Well,
to
that's
date.
I guess that's my
Yeah,
question.
exactly.
Are we chasing, or what is it, the
Proverbial
mouse
rabbit.
on the wheel?
Yeah.
Are we chasing, and never catch it?
Well, and again, it's if you go back to what we did with our student created work policy, the way that we tiered that down, it's never a gotcha right out of the gate. It's a conversation. It's like, okay, let's look at this. You used it to help you, or it looks like you used it to help you. Let's have a conversation about where that's good and where that's bad, and how we need to teach you and instruct you on when it's appropriate to use it and when it's not. It's one thing I like about the Magic School product that we've got in here. I took the Magic School product and I tried my ever-loving best to get it to write a paper for me. Like I gave it every kind of tricky prompt I could to see if it would. It wouldn't even give me a thesis sentence. Like it would coach me. It helped me. So, well, think about it this way or think about it that way. And so that's where, that zone one really comes into play, where we're showing them, here's how you can use it as a thought partner, right? And somebody could get you, but it's still your work. It's still you're generating it. You go out there in the Wild West of AI and sure, I'll write you a paper. Done,
And I guess AI has made me rethink the idea of laptops in elementary school. And, 7, 8 years ago, I was all about that, because for the poor kids, or the kids that, maybe single parent, whatever it was, that needed a little extra help, that couldn't get the tutoring or what have you.
Yeah.
You get them in there because that's the only chance they'll have to compete with kids that have computers or ways to do it. Now I'm thinking with AI, I'm not sure we haven't made a mistake, or maybe not a mistake, but have to evolve with this and rethink the amount of PCs and computers and whatnots that and I don't know what the balance is, but.
Well, and that's why I tasked them with actually looking at our elementary, middle usage, especially of laptops and technology, so we can strike that fine balance. Because we are going to have ways to ensure that it's authentic student work. When you had to handwrite it, guess what?
Yeah.
It was authentic student
You
work.
knew it was authentic.
So I did see, I read it somewhere where a professor was really smart, because colleges are struggling with this too, right? And he put some sentence in the middle of his assignment that made no sense. And he caught 75% of the kids cheating because their AI generated responses talked about that one part in the sentence that made no sense. So people are trying to stay ahead of the game, but it is, like you said, it is a challenge. I do think when we have great kids, right? Sure. And when we set expectations, the majority of kids are going to meet those expectations.
But you also have those kids.
But you also got the Mr. Greenways in school, who we just have to make sure we're not doing them a disservice by letting AI do all their thinking for them.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing Mr. Legault's going to talk a little bit about when he talks about some of the things that we're doing in the academy. He talked about it with the writing process. One of the things we found, because we've talked to other schools, we've talked to Virtual Virginia, other folks who are struggling with this. And one of the tools that they use is just making sure your teachers are having conversations with their students. When you talk to your student, ask them to explain their thinking a little bit, you can very quickly figure out whether somebody knows what they're talking about, or the work they've been doing to this point is not their own.
Yeah.
So it's still a human business. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's having those conversations with kids. It's like he said, when we're writing, let's work on this over time. It's not take this home and it's due in 3 weeks. And then, like you said, you're not sure what's going to happen. If the teacher's working alongside the student, asking the student questions, you can get to the root of whether they're really thinking about this and are doing the work or not.
Right. That's a good point.
So,
yeah, we have to get back to tightening up the feedback loop. Like, you're going to give me something, I'm going to give you some coaching on it and give it back to you, and you're going to give me a better product next time. And it has to be that loop. I can't turn you loose to do it anymore.
Yeah, and so where that goes and what my thinking goes to then is online education. there's much less, connection with the teacher.
Yeah. So, well, I
But
can,
go ahead.
I can show you.
I'm digressing, but
No. We're actually going to address that because let's be real. The online academy that we have, that is the one that's probably be the easiest to take advantage of this technology. So they recognize that early on, so they've come up with some strategies to try to address that.
okay.
Yeah, we've really worked hard over the last probably 7 or 8 months. We have really good kids, and
Sure.
and a lot of times in the academy, what would happen is because of the nature of the soft deadlines and the kind of accordion that you can do, where you can work hard and get to it's just going back and forth. Kids would let it go, and then a really good kid would get behind and make a bad choice.
Yeah.
And so because it's so easy now to catch up and do that sort of thing. So we've made some structural changes in our academy. I contacted a whole pile of different schools. Virginia Western has asked me to let them know what we're doing because they're struggling with it too. So that sort of thing. And so in the academy, we've developed a new website for the academy. And again, it's just to communicate to parents that what it is and what it isn't, and how we do it, how the classes are all laid out, and that sort of thing. But let me get to the academic integrity piece of it, so that I can address this issue with it here. So what we've done, first of all, the tone throughout this whole thing is, let's make your credit worth something. Let's make what you're earning worth what you're earning, and so that you're taking a math at one level and you move on to the next level, you actually own the math. Like, you can do the math, because it just they don't think that far out. Some of them don't think that far out, and so this is the easy way. But then I'm going to get to the next level and I can't do any of it, and that may or may not be online, and it may not even be available. So let's make it worth something. So it's not about gotcha. Like, we're not just trying to catch people doing things. We're trying to educate them. And the number one thing we want is that they know the content when they leave the class. And so with that, we've set it up that your credit's worth something. We're going to have checkpoints in every course. In the academy, we used to have rolling deadlines and different deadlines for every class. So now we're going to have every course you take, any course you take, all the week's work is done at 11:59 on Sunday night. So you can turn it in early if you want to, or you can turn it in at 11:59. After that, it's late. And so if you don't hit the deadline, then it'll show missing in parent view, student view, that sort of thing. But you've got a full week to redo that work at a 10% penalty for that work. And then after that, it goes away. Like, you can't make that up. And so that puts pressure on getting the work done in a timely fashion, whereas in the past they would just put it off. It's not due, so I can just put it off, I can wait, and then it starts to stack up. We piloted that this summer, and I got phone calls from parents saying this is fantastic, because now they don't have to have the argument with their kid about what's due and what's not due. Like, it's due. Like, you can see it's due. Oh, it's missing. You didn't turn it in. Let's get on it. That kind of thing. And so we had kids coming out of the gate working so much faster than we have in the past. And we had so many fewer kids that just ghosted us in the middle of it. And we haven't heard from them. We don't know what you're doing. You haven't turned anything in. And so that piece of it went really, really well. We're going to implement a midterm assessment that's proctored, so that halfway through the course, they're going to take a test that has to do with what was in the beginning of the class. And that way we can, instead of waiting to the end of the final assessment and then all of a sudden they don't know anything, and now what do we do with it? We've got a midterm, and we can address the issue if there's an issue. I actually don't think there's going to be many issues because of the deadlines. Like, it's really, really working well. I didn't make all this up, by the way. I have to give some props to Florida Virtual and some other people that I talked to. I just kind of appropriated it. That man over there told me to steal smart. That's what I learned from that's So I'm pulling it all together for Roanoke County and putting it in. We're going to have random check-ins. We're going to have, occasionally we're going to have kids where we're talking to them or we're pulling them to take an authentic assessment, just to make sure that what they're doing and what they're turning in is equivalent to what they can actually do if they're proctored with an adult and that kind of thing. And this assessment validation, we have been doing this for a couple of years already, and this works extremely well. You look online, we have so many technology tools to be able to see what a student is doing online, even if they're not with us. Okay, you got Unit 5 and Unit 6 math test, and you just nailed them at 100%. And you took 7 minutes on that one, and you took 6 minutes on that one. Not really sure.
Really?
Then we look into Lightspeed and go, wow, you were Googling the answers at the same time the test was open, and that sort of thing. So, but then it's not a gotcha. I'm going to call you up and I'm going to say, we've got some inconsistencies here. We're going to need you to come in and validate these results. And then we sit down with you, and we have had students completely exonerate themselves. Like they're just either that good at math or they write that well. I've scored some of those writings myself. You go, well, that kid can write. Okay, it's just, there you go. Keep going, keep moving through it. But other times it's been like, all right, you're not getting the work. We want you to learn the stuff. And so it's not punitive. It's just more, let's get back on track and let's do this the right way. I mean,
there's no substitute for that teacher.
Amen.
There really isn't. There really isn't. And so part of this whole process is the first time you see the anomaly in my teacher expectations for the academy, it's a phone call. It's not an email. It's not a remind. It's I need you talking to the student, talking to the parent. Let's build some.
How many do we have in the online now?
How many do we have?
Mm-hmm.
We have approximately. Well, I think I wrote it down. I did. I thought I left that paper over there, so I'm not sure. We have 1,028 students taking 1,938 classes.
Is that out of our 13,000 students?
Yeah,
1,000
but
of
they
them?
could be taking like one course. I mean, they're not necessarily doing it
Which
all.
is still a lot more than I thought it would be.
We have 150 full-time. So these are students that don't come in. Many of them former homeschool that are taking AP level and dual enrollment level classes that we can offer. Some of them do it and go to Burton, but only take the online classes here. Some of them do it so that they can play sports and lots of different reasons that they go full-time. Some of them are very ill, honestly. This was get a little sad here, but this was a big help for Cam. Like we got him graduated.
That's awesome.
It was, and he did the work. That boy.
Oh, there's no question there. I get
right,
that one.
Right. So anyway, yeah, what a great kid.
He was.
But so it's we've got to be diligent about this, and we've got to be smart about it, and we've got to make this work so that these credits really do mean something. But we had last year, the year before, even when AI was prolific, we had good AP scores. We had good SOL scores. I met with a student advisory committee. Most of our kids aren't doing this. Matter of fact, a lot of kids hate AI. Like a lot of kids are like, absolutely won't touch it. My personal kids won't touch it. And they are very upset with their peers who are getting the easy credit and doing that sort of thing. This is happening in face-to-face classes too. That's why we have to educate them and get them moving in the right direction in all areas. But so we have a lot of really good kids doing the right thing here, moving on to bigger and higher maths and sciences and Englishes and social studies and stuff like that. A lot of them take online courses because they work. That gives them senior release. They're allowed to leave, that sort of thing. Some of them have medical issues. Some of them have apprenticeships. Like it's been a huge thing for the apprenticeship program because, the hours are so wonky sometimes that they can't get to class when the DBA is scheduled to class. And so there are a lot of reasons to be able to do this. We would have nowhere to put a student that transfers to us from Franklin County or Botetourt because they're 4x4 systems. If they come to us in January, they've finished 4 classes and they need 4 classes. And if we didn't have this, we have nowhere to put them and they fall behind in their credits. So there's a lot of, different things that key these numbers up, that keep them up there. I thought they would go down after COVID. Before COVID, we did about I don't know, I think we had 14 classes and maybe 200 kids taking classes in the academy. And then all of a sudden we needed to have a school because the kids were staying home, and it just blew up. But it never backed down. Like they just like, oh, well, this frees me up. I get to take 3 band classes instead of 1, because I can take these classes there. So and I'm talking like this, but I'm not like the rah-rah cheerleader for online teaching. I think the best teaching happens in front of a great teacher, like in person with other kids, the socialization, all of those sorts of things. But if it's a need and it has to happen and we're going to do it, let's do it right. Like let's really make it matter. So that was that's just kind of been my mission with all of this here. So these are live on the website. You guys can go through and look at all of this. If you have any questions about any of it, all of you know how to get in touch with me. I'm happy to talk to you about that sort of thing. I think Kim's ready to talk, so and I'm ready to not. Yeah. Any more questions about the academy before I go on? All right. So I'm going to go down here. These are concepts by grade. Thank you.
Absolutely. So when we met as an instructional team, one of the things that we did is we took a look at our computer science standards because they're already in place. And so we went and began looking at those standards and how do they align with AI. I can give you a sigh of relief at the K through 5 level. It's all teacher led. It's not like the students are using the computers to do and work with AI. It's conversational. So like in grades K through 2, you're talking about, the teachers might be talking about voice assistance or facial recognition, all things that are AI that children see, their parents use, they see other people use, and so we just begin that conversation. That is an AI tool. And then when we get to grades 3 through 5, again, it's still teacher-led, but they focus on items like search and translation and image recognition. Again, students aren't in there exploring and using, the teachers leading those discussions and conversations, because again, we want them to be ready and we want them to be knowledgeable about what tools are out there and what is the mechanism behind those tools. In grades 6 through 8, we talk about concepts like AI collects user data. This is when we start talking to the students about, when you're out on that public realm, it is truly public. And so it's collecting anything that you put into it. And we talk to them about privacy and the importance of privacy and what you put in. You want to make sure that you don't mind it being public information. When we get to grades 9 through 12, the conversation and the usage goes to the prompt engineering and the ethics of using AI appropriately. Also policy and workforce impact, because we know some of our students are going to go straight into the workforce. And so they need to be knowledgeable about how AI is used in the workforce, so they're ready for that component as well. Each of those grade level bands has key concepts, safeguards, because we want to make sure that at each level our children are safe and using it safe, and also classroom look for. So just give the teachers ideas of what does this truly look like within the classroom. So going from there, we decided to take a look at acceptable uses and best practices, and this is both for teachers and for students. And so we looked at when is it teacher authorized, and then what does it look like if you have student created work. So just basically spelling that out again for everyone that's utilizing the AI tools. And we took a look at the best practices for utilizing AI. What are the best situations that you could use? How could you use it, and what does that look like? And then finally at the end, we gave examples of what AI tools and uses would look like in the classroom. So again, I know that we want to talk about protecting and having that balance, and that's one of the things that we set out to do, is making sure that we were keeping that balance for our students and that we weren't giving too much out, but we also want to give enough information that they understand what they see and what the working mechanisms are behind it.
Thank y'all.
Yes.
What kind of educational tools or training do we have for the teachers at these different grade levels? Do we have anything? Because this information is fantastic right here. But I'm also curious as to some of our teachers may run with this, and some of them may be like a 60-some-year-old who, do I really need to know all that AI stuff? I don't know.
It's funny. I'm sitting here thinking I had a big birthday this summer. I don't know, big birthday with a 0 at the end. So I'm that guy that you just talked about, and I'm this crusty old guy here, and I'm playing in this area.
He's a crusty old guy too.
That's it. With this, with this journey that we've had with AI, we kind of embraced it early, thinking, all right, there's so many things that teachers have to do now, right? There's just so much that is on their plate. And I saw this, I'm like, wow, this actually might be something that actually takes something off of their plate. Like, I mean, it really. And so, as a group of supervisors, we got together. We hired a consultant to come in and show us how to build some tools and do some things. And take them into the So, if you look. This was not a planned thing, so if something doesn't work, just there you go. That's it. It's Joe's fault. So we, we're a Microsoft district. We have the Microsoft suite. We use SharePoints where we park our stuff. So all the English stuff for my English side of my job is over here in SharePoint. So when we have the English site here, so let's say that you're an elementary English teacher and you're teaching 5th grade. I have on here, and every subject area did it. We all did it for every grade level. The ChatGPT 5th grade AI helper. And what we did was we built custom GPTs. These are things that are sequestered so it doesn't go out to the web. We've put our Sea Change framework in there, our state documents, our guidance, our pacing guides, everything in there.
Opportunity ready.
Opportunity ready. And information about special ed and information about ELL students and all that for differentiation. And then you tell it exactly how you want it to behave with a teacher, and a teacher can go here and get a lesson plan, and it's aligned. So it's not going to pull something from Missouri, right? So because if you're out there on the web, it might pull something from Missouri if you don't prompt it correctly. So we even have a prompt coach there that will tell them how to prompt the AI so that they can do this. And they only need a free account to do this. And so that's been, you can see the usage, and the usage is off the charts. Because if you need a sub plan, because you're going to be out, give me a sub plan. And it will ask you, well, does the sub know your content area? Like, I have no idea. So, okay, well, I'm going to give you a sub plan, thinking maybe they don't. So that way you got a sub plan that they can implement and that sort of thing. So it is there, and we're showing the teachers how to do it. We're doing it in our content areas. The ITRTs are also training them on a systematic training on Magic School, on how to use Magic School and build rooms for their kids in Magic School and things like that. So there's a plan. It's articulated. We're marching. We're heading that way, and the usage is varied, of course. There are people that are just deathly afraid of it, like anything, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I was probably more like Mr. Greenway. So I'm like, hey, this is great.
I'm throwing stuff in there just to see what it spits out, so it knows me.
Well, you said you helped.
Can you click on that just to show it?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It helped you fix your computer.
Yes, it did. Actually, it did. When I couldn't get anybody to help me, it walked me through it. It's unreal.
Well, I don't know about that. All right. This GPT will create lesson plans, assessments, reassessments, remedial plans for individual students. It will also give you creative instructional ideas and brainstorming. And so, you can tell it that, I have some kids struggling in this particular area. I'm on week 7 in the mapping. And can you give me some ideas to make this a little more engaging? And whoop, it will give you, that sort of thing. Am I out of line here?
No, you're good, bro.
Okay.
You want transparency or opaque?
Yeah.
It's a science. That's great.
What's that, Aaron?
Transparency and an engaging lesson on transparency. Transparent, opaque, translucent,
Opaque.
opaque, translucent.
Wait, you're in the English language arts.
We'll see what it does. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you're giving it a
I'm not even
science
spelling
question.
right.
We're not in the
That's
science
okay.
one.
And the
That's
good news
okay.
is it'll pick up
Um,
that you can't spell.
That
Because
is true.
translucent is not quite correct.
Oh.
There you go.
Mhm.
Um, no pressure here, Jeff.
Yeah, no pressure. maybe 20 minutes. Maybe 20 minutes with a
Reading passage.
sharing with a partner activity.
I used to have to come up with all this stuff myself.
I know you do.
Well, maybe you're
You use it all
maybe
the
you're
time.
AI.
Oh, I use
That's how-
ChatGPT all the time.
That's how we have these T-shirts that we were
That's
wearing
right.
earlier.
I think
So
you're
it's going to
AI.
give me what I
can play
need.
that.
It's
He's
going to be
not real.
aligned to our standards because it's not going to look for any other standards. And it's going to give me minute by minute. You know, here's how I here's my hook. Here's what to ask them. Teaching the words. Giving them the the roots, the affixes, and all of that for the words there.
That's
It's
interesting.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you can see how much they're using this
Yeah.
resource. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Through SharePoint, not through GPT. GPT don't want to tell you anything. So,
Okay.
but because I've got the button in SharePoint, I can see how many times they click the button. Like I can see the the usage and what they're doing with it.
But what a great tool for a teacher
Yeah.
who's struggling to come up with a engaging lesson.
Right.
And at the elementary
That meets our
level.
standards. And
Right,
Yes.
it's aligned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's aligned. I will tell you that we're working on trying to replicate this in Office 365 using Copilot. Copilot has grown and has gotten better, and that's behind a password. And every teacher has an account, and that way they don't have to make some account in some other thing that's not a district product, right? So we're working on that piece as well. Mr. Jeff over there has been helping me greatly. With
Joe's doing a great job.
Mhm.
Jeff and I sat in the first meeting. I'm not sure we contributed all
It's come a long way since then. But you're right.
Yeah.
Joe's leading the charge.
Yeah. So thank you all three for your work on this.
All right.
Very nice.
Yes, thank you.
Is it?
The one thing I did want to say is when we went to the Piper School, didn't they have like those students were in a particular classroom with a particular teacher? Isn't that just what she did? Is that
Yeah, they had an extra staff member who's basically like our ITRT that went in with teachers and did the lessons with teachers, but she actually modeled the lesson. That's what we saw at elementary
well? That's what I
school.
was trying to remember because we were in the classroom with a couple of different groups where the
Mhm.
kids sat with their computers with the teacher. So was that their regular teacher or was I can't remember?
That was the
That's what
ITRT
I thought,
basically,
okay.
and she basically would come in and model the lesson for the teachers that would then do it. But like the lesson I remember was like, okay, we're going to use our chat I think they were using Google, and they were like, what do we have to do here? Cite it. They
Oh,
they
I
were learning the
remember.
ethical things on how to actually.
But that
use
other
the-
classroom we were in, they were a little bit older and they were doing a project. Do you
they
remember
were,
that?
yeah.
I can't remember exactly what they were doing, but it was very interesting to watch how they were using it, and they all did it very differently. But it was very AI driven. I mean, that was what the project was about. So
Yeah,
it
and
was
that would be a zone 3.
but it was interesting to see how the kids were using it differently.
Yeah, and what I love about what y'all done is we did Steal Smart, right?
Mhm.
We tailored it for elementary to just lay the foundations of that, but then really starting to use it as the kids get older. Because you can't build your house on a foundation of marshmallows. The house will fall. So they actually have to know the content.
Right.
We got to teach them that. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you for your time.
First thing I asked them was, did you use AI to build the website?
And what did Joe say?
They might have helped him.
To get your presentation.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm old enough that they made me learn HTML when I was in graduate school because every teacher needed a website, right? That's the
Right.
thing. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but with some AI help, we made a good website that way.
Yeah, in college, I bet in college it's amazingly difficult.
I'll tell you about some technologies they're fighting.
Item 2.07, 2026-2027 budget work session number 5, Miss Susan Peterson.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. I am excited to be here to have our final revision of the 26-27 annual budget. The state did adopt a budget on June 30th, and I was allowed a little time to, instead of turning it around within like 2 or 3 days to provide it to you in July, I was given a little bit of leeway to a month to get so we could really put some thought into it and make sure we knew. And we had great priorities on the priority list for you. So I will not beleaguer this. We only have 4 items I'd like to talk about. Revenue, what it's going to look like at the state. And we have a couple of grants that we're going to add in. Budget priorities, the 2 teeny pay plan changes based on the priorities, and then kind of what's on the horizon. So for our revenue, the main items that changed with the final General Assembly budget, as you all know, the compensation supplement was increased from the 2% to the 4%. So this gave us 1.5 million more. It really helped us because we had already adopted 4.5%. So we were already above what they moved to. So that really helped to just ensure we had the funding that we needed and provide a little bit extra that we could put forth towards programming. We got a little bit more for infrastructure and operations, $778,000. They re-estimated sales tax projections, which gave $259,000 more for our school division. But if you see down just to the left of that, basic aid went down. These two are inverse relationships within the formula, and so if sales tax goes up, you're going to see your basic aid come down, and vice versa. So they're just kind of in the formula in a inverse relationship. Breakfast went up a little bit. They have increased their state reimbursement for school breakfast per meal from 28 cents to 58 cents. So that's going to help Ms. Estrada and her team feed more students. The at-risk portion went up $100,000 for us. And then, if y'all recall, when the House adopted, we went with the House budget, and in the House budget, there was $4.4 million set aside for one-time flexible money, and I put that off to the grant fund and said, we have a placeholder in here, but we're not even going to talk about it now. I'm glad that we didn't waste a lot of time in that because they took it out of the budget, and that was just would have been a pipe dream, right? So if you look at the kind of funds that we put our budget in, you're very familiar with this schedule. The very first column is our 26 original budget. The next 2 columns is our adopted budget from March 31st with our variance from the prior year. And then our revised numbers are in the next groupings with the variance to 26, and the final column shows you the variance from our revised to the adopted. And so you can see in the general fund, because of the changes in some of the general money, the compensation, infrastructure, and all of that, we're going up 2.5 million of operating money that we could build into some relevant priorities. The instructional resources fund to purchase textbooks went up $5, so that was a whopping lot of money. Our grant fund, the 4.3 million reduction, is basically that one-time funding that we set aside, and then nutrition fund, the reimbursement amount went up $114,000. So I was actually really excited to get those numbers back, so that allowed us to do a little bit more for our students in our classrooms. while we're taking a revision in, we are aware of some grants and donations that were not built into the original budget, so we'd like to go ahead and build them in this iteration. The Department of Behavioral Health, last year, if you recall, we got the $300,000 grant to help with the telehealth services, and this was a wonderful program to participate in. I think it really helped a lot of folks. So we're very excited that we were awarded the second year of this grant. It's a 4-year grant, so we will build in $300,000 to continue providing this service to our families, students, and staff, anyone who needs some assistance. The next item that we were aware of is in the special ed department. One of our fine folks reached out to the Community Foundation and applied for a grant for some visually impaired essential equipment, and so that's going to be $36,500. The next item are meal donations. Typically, what we do with meal donations, if the donor asks us to use it a certain way, that is exactly how we use it. That's how we use any grant or donated money. But if it does not have a very specific reason, we will use it to spend down the balances that are unpaid for students who have left the division, and we are going to keep whatever is left over for future balances for when students leave. And so we do have some very generous, nice folks who write us a check on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis. It's not a huge check, but it's some little checks that come in, and we wanted to set up a pathway to continue to put that in to the grant fund, because this money cannot run through the nutrition fund. It has to run through a different fund. So we just run it through the grant fund with this money, and then we can roll over the balance to be used in future years. So we just want to put the $10,000 in there for a placeholder. And the final one is load the bus, and I don't want to steal any thunder from our wonderful communications director over there, but when we do have our event in August, folks are extremely generous, and sometimes they will bring cash or checks with them to the event. We work this event with the city, and so this past year we got a generous check of $5,000 from the Elks Club. And so we've collected between us and the city $6,900, and so the $7,000 will cover the total amount that was collected. We split it in even, and since we collected more cash and checks, we will issue a check to the city for half of that, so that they can then turn around and buy the additional supplies that they need. We will do the same with our money. So just a little placeholder in there for that. So congratulations, Chuck, on a very successful Load the Bus campaign this year. Moving into our budget priorities, I know you all have seen this list. I have a couple of slides in here, and I'll touch base on all of them. I don't want to beleaguer them, but if anyone wants to add to the comments, or if you have any questions, by all means, please jump in. Otherwise, I'm just going to roll right through them. I do have 2 tier lists, a tier 1 and a tier 2. So starting with our tier 1 list, the most costly item we have in here is to establish an elementary in-school suspension program. So this would include 16 instructional assistants, and we've built in all of the benefits that would go with those instructional assistants. This would help us to keep students in their schools, but provide good guidance for them to help with behavioral situations. So we're really excited to be able to establish that program for our elementary schools.
Yeah, can I elaborate on that a little bit? So basically, you guys know we're looking for ways to serve kids at the same time trying to protect the classroom environment, right? So I know that Ms. Clemens and a lot of you guys were on board with us exploring the alternative ed site, especially for elementary. And I'll be transparent. Originally, I wanted to put this in and an elementary A step, but then Dr. Harmon pointed out you can't do that, Jamie, because you got to have a facility where you can feed them. You got to have playground for them. You got to have a gym for them. So honestly, this is the next tier of support that we can provide our elementary schools. Right now, elementary schools don't have anything really to do with their kids, except for sit them in the front office. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm probably the world's worst when I come in and say, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? What are you doing up here?" And the kids thrive on that attention. So sometimes we reinforce the behavior we don't want to see by sending the kids consequences, sending them to Disneyland, which is the office, instead of going to math class or whatever it is. So this gives us a way. We will train the IAs in behavioral science, how to work with them to de-escalate the kids, try to get them back regulated, and try to get them back in the classroom, but also take them away from the theater of the office, right?
Also, your administrator has other things that they're supposed to be doing. I mean, I've been in several of them, and there's meeting with them, and there's a student in there with the principal when I'm in there with them.
And that's a really good point. So really, besides lunch detention, where then the teacher's having to give up their lunch duty to watch the kids, it's the principal who then has to drop everything to keep babysitting
Somebody has
the kid,
to watch them, right?
and the kid's not getting any instruction at that point because they're just sitting there, because no one is directly responsible for ensuring they're getting that instruction. So this gives us another tier to hopefully be able to provide support for our elementary schools, but also if there's nobody in ISS, that gives an extra IA at the elementary school for the principal to use in any other means necessary. But their primary responsibility will be ISS if there's a kid sent there.
I think it's super important. I mean, I know we are working towards a better solution, but we're not there. We don't have the funding. We're not there. So I think this is a good solution for now.
And this also helps with the CSA situation
Yes.
with the county that
it does.
Wants us to participate more.
Well, it shows that we're
Well, we're putting in every effort possible to have a continuum of services to be able to meet kids' needs. Obviously, we want to keep kids in the classroom as much as we can, but when they become
we
so
know how
disruptive
that can be.
right? If I have a kid in there turning over tables,
So no one in that classroom is learning.
right, and we have to protect the learning of everyone. So this gives us an alternative.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. The next item on the list is a request from the county to help fund an expected loss of a grant. They were in the last year of their first SRO grant, and this year they were not provided the funding for that last year. And so they have asked us to help them cover just the portion they get from the state for that.
And I just want to say something about that because I can't pass up the opportunity. We know we had to fight like cats and dogs to get those SROs in these schools. And I had one of the board of supervisors look at me and say, "Hey, you started this program, you can pay for it." I'd love for that supervisor to look at the constituents of his district and say that to them, that we don't need these SROs in our schools. So now, all of a sudden when we got the grant funding, now it's a great idea. And we'll state at the State of the County speech that we got SROs in the schools. Well, it was wonderful until the grant went away. And guess what? Your priorities are in your budget, right? And our priorities are in raises and trying to do the best we can for our teachers, but also the safety of our students. And we recognize that those SROs are important. They need to be there, and they're not just placeholders that sit there during the day. If you want to see what an SRO does, go in one of these schools and watch them, participate with them, sit with them for a few hours. They are amazing in our schools. And I can sit across from a parent and say that we did the best we could if one of these sick people get into our schools and do something terrible. But the fact that they have taken that funding away from us bugs the living doo-doo out of me. And so I want to make it known that Roanoke County Public Schools, this board recognizes how important those SROs are to our schools, and we're going to make sure that they are in these schools in the future. And whether those people that are supposed to be public safety, that's, the biggest thing that any government should do is protect its citizens. I think our children are pretty important. And we're going to make sure those SROs stay in those schools. And I appreciate the board for recognizing that. So, and
Yeah.
thank you, Dr. Soltis, for
Do you want to say
making that a priority.
I just want to say a couple things. I agree with Mr. Greenway wholeheartedly. It is a priority for us, and that's why we are going to absorb this into our budget, because we do think it's important. I can only speak for my own relationships with SROs in my children's schools, and when I was the PTO president all those years, they serve such a large role in our buildings. It is about safety, but it's also about some of the programs they're offering. We had the Squire's Aid that was started by Officer Hubbard at the middle school, which is about mental health awareness and safety and all of those things. So these SROs are serving a huge purpose in our schools, and I just think it's really important that we make sure that we have one in every school. So we want everyone to understand that why we think this is so important, and that we do think it's so important that we are going to make sure that we are providing the funding for it.
I would like to add that they are a required member of our threat assessment teams. We are required when we have to do a threat assessment to include a resource or a police officer. So they are invaluable for us.
Yes. And when you see them in your schools, you see the relationships they have with students. And our administrators see them as invaluable as well. So
That's right.
it's just super important. I mean, when you're in the schools, as much as I was, you just see that relationship. And I think I said this to you, that my son had said when he was in middle school that he noticed that the officer at that time seemed to have a relationship with some of the students that might not otherwise have had someone to talk to. And so I thought that was pretty cool that he recognized it and saw that. But that is true. They serve a purpose beyond just being there for safety. So I just think it's hugely important, and we just want to make sure that everyone knows that we see it as important. And we do, like you said, talking to other parents. I'm a parent. I mean, I feel more comfortable knowing that there's someone in that building. So anyways, I just wanted to say that.
Well, and to further that, go into Mount Pleasant and see the officer sitting there playing with a special ed student with a toy in the floor, or rolling a car with them.
Mm-hmm.
Then go to Conda for Horn and see the officer outside directing traffic, but also getting the kids to the right buses, making sure that there's no vehicles impeding in that space, watching them make the rounds. And there are some, believe it or not, in elementary, as we just went through on the CSA piece, there are kids that are disruptive, not the same at the high school, but in some fashion that you need someone like that. And I liken it to this. If we don't believe SROs need to be in the schools, then let's take the nurses out of the schools too. We don't, that's the point I'm making. The nurses are important. Those SROs serve a purpose. And I know they weren't there years ago, but the world wasn't
different.
like it is
It's very different.
years ago. And so for me, that is a huge piece. And I hate that we have to take it from education funds to pay for it.
But we're going to.
But we're going to. Exactly.
And I think that when you talk to your principals, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this too, they love them. They have great relationships with the SROs in their schools. They feel like they're invaluable. We've seen it over the years where they were like, please don't take my SRO. I'm keeping he's the one we want. We love him here. He's already done all this, and we've all done it. We've all tried to fight for that in some of our schools because we know how important they are. So I just think it's super important. And I know that it is unfortunate that's what we have to do, but we're going to do it. So that is.
And I appreciate the board for
It's
doing
the
that.
money well spent, I think.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Like you mentioned, I've seen the relationships in the elementary schools and in the middle schools and high schools, and it's fantastic for those
little Florida Georgia line back there.
for those students to be able to see that law enforcement people are their friends and they're people they can trust and people they can confide in if they need to. Yeah, we need to spend that money if we're not going to get it from the grant.
And Mr. Lennon, I think you hit a great point. All of what you guys said, I 100% believe they're integral. But even if you don't believe in that, the relationships they build with the kids is going to reduce crime in the future.
Yes,
right.
Because they understand the relationship with a police officer, and it's not adversarial.
And it's a positive experience.
Right.
And another thing that you and I had talked about is that we really don't have our SROs in there they're not there to be the disciplinarians. We have principals and administrators that are there for that purpose. So, and that does help to build this positive relationship, because that is not their role. It doesn't mean that there might not be times if there is like a crime that's being committed that they would have to be involved, but that is not their purpose. And I think that that just makes it a more positive experience. We want these kids to see them as someone they can go to
And
when they need help.
That's actually in the MOU. They're not allowed to be
Right, it's
involved
not
in
their
discipline.
roles. Right.
They're only allowed to be involved if there's a crime, but it's more about the building the relationships,
Yes.
making sure that police officers are.
And I will just say, I could talk about this forever because I've had such good experiences.
I love it. I love it.
I've just had such great experiences with them. I just feel like we don't tell them what they have to go in and do other than provide that safety. But these officers go above and beyond
do it
what
on
we
their own.
ask them to do. They come, like the Squire's Aid. He wanted to do that, and it became this huge club for the middle school. So they are stepping in, and these officers are there because they really care about children. That's why they're doing that job. They want to be there, and they want to jump in and help, and they want to serve a purpose in our buildings. I'm sure every one of us could say that that's what our experience has been. So I'll stop talking about it, but I just think it's so important, and I'm glad that we all feel that way. So. Oh, okay, you're on to talk, Tim. Let me get you on a soapbox and see. All right, we can move on.
I appreciate it.
I know we can move on.
All right. The next item on here that's a big ticket item is an increase in diesel fuel budget. You know everything going on in the world right now, and diesel prices have been up. We have locked in a fuel rate for next year, so our amount that we're going to pay per gallon isn't going to increase, but we know exactly the budget we need, and to get there, we needed to put another $200,000 in here. We took some. So in the original budget, we took a negative expense to use payroll labs to cover some of these items. We're replenishing that so that we're not digging into the payroll labs. I've mentioned before we can use the payroll labs a little bit, but when we're faced with students coming to us with specific needs, the payroll labs is what helps us get an additional IA to help serve our students, or additional positions when we need it for mandated purposes. So we never want to budget too much of our labs. The next item, it has been quite a long time since our division has done a facility study. So we would like to set aside $150,000 to complete a division-wide full facility study so that we can take a fresh look at the CIP and what to do going forward to help streamline our building process going forward.
1 second, I was helping back here.
I'm talking about the reimagine the CIP. I just thought you might have something you want to say about that.
Well, thank you. Did you have something you wanted me?
No, I'm good with you not talking, but
no, I think so. I'm sorry because I was making sure she knows on snooze. So reimagine the CIP again is for developing, redoing the CIP.
Well,
So it's basically on gathering information about the state
I got
of all
because
of
we're
our
going to have to do some
facilities.
engineering. Yeah,
Right,
I
because
got you.
we're basing decisions off of when it was done, however many years ago, whatever your
which is what
Ken's
you've been
first
asking for.
Yeah,
year
and
as superintendent
honestly,
was like 10 years.
I think Dr. Soltis and we've had these conversations in here, and I think we're on track to with some of the same thoughts. And we are going to. That's a great idea because we are going to need some of that money to make some of these changes, pivot.
Because it is becoming more and more difficult with Todd and his budget to maintain. I mean, you saw we had to ask for $500,000 for Glenver Middle, K Spring Middle. We've had lots of HVAC
And if they
issues over
keep
there.
taking our maintenance, if they keep reducing our funds like that, the way they've done it, that's going to keep hitting our CIP, CMP, and
Right. In which case, we're going to have to think outside the box.
Yeah. So. No, thank you. I'm sorry.
The next item is a state mandate that is unfunded, House Bill 2618. We do have to achieve indoor air quality compliance, and there is a lot that has to be done to do that. And so to give Mr. Kagels the funding, this is a 4-year every 4 years this has to be done, and so the 100,000 will complete the number of schools that have to be done each year to comply because they have to be done every 4 years. Is that correct?
That's right. We're doing a quarter of the schools.
So in other words, we're going to be asking for $100,000 each year.
Every year.
Right.
Well, it'll be built in. It won't go
Right,
from
but
100 to 200.
but I was
It'll-
just, it's not $100,000 that's going to cover it for the whole time. We're going to have to build that into the budget.
The next item is an increase in general insurance. So I did have an original increase in the original budget for this, but when we got the final paperwork, it was higher than what I had hoped, mainly because there was a property revaluation year before last that hit, and then with the additional additions to Glen Cove kind of and RCCTC, those property values go up as well. And so we do need to set aside a little bit more money for general property insurance. The next item, so one of the things with, we all know the all-in funding went away. There was a lot of tutoring in the all-in, and with the changes in all of the testing coming down the pike, we just want to make sure that we have enough set aside for Mr. Williams to provide all the academic support that he needs for remediation.
Yeah, if I could elaborate on that a little bit. In talking with Mr. Williams, basically we used all-in funds to provide additional supports to our schools with people doing remediation, etc. And I do not want to lose those individuals and whatever we're using to help our schools at a time when the cut scores are going up as well and the tests are becoming more rigorous. To me, that's imperative money.
All right. The next item on the list is to increase the employee extended work plan. We did have 8 new people add and 1 drop off, and so that's the cost of adding to the EEWP. The next item is to implement smart social programming. Did you want to speak?
Yeah, that's the podcast and the social media platform where parents will have access to all the social media that's out there, educating them and their kids. It was what we were trying to do with the community meetings, and then we did one where Chuck helped me do one, and we had more people attend and watch that because they don't have to leave their home than we did all 26 community meetings combined.
That's crazy.
So it's a platform to really help us out, and that had nothing to do with me. It's just the way we delivered it was easy. I'd like to think it was me, but I don't think it was.
Well, if they'd have seen those AI pictures.
Well, that's a good point. I did have some nice legs and
With those legs.
All right, the next item is a custodial contract increase. So with the adoption of the budget, the governor did adopt a minimum wage increase as of January 1st. So SSC went through and recalculated what it was going to cost for them to be able to provide that to their employees. And so they are pushing that down to us to cover for them. Expansion of the employee recognition program of $25,000.
Anything we can do to make our employees feel like they're valued and needed, that's a good use of funds.
Inspecting smoke dampers. So this is a fire marshal mandate, and it's going to cost us $25,000 for that. An additional $15,000 to support both of our assistant superintendents with their operating costs, travel, training, and all of that. During our original budget discussions, we did have $15,000 in there, but we took it away and set it aside for a program without thinking that, they were going to need some training and travel. So we're going to add that back in. And so that covers both of them for if they go to conferences.
So in full transparency, when I was the deputy superintendent and had no budget, and Jessica was the assistant superintendent and had no budget, we just pilfered everybody else's budget. So this is the way to be transparent and give these ladies the money they need to be able to be as effective as possible.
The next item is a middle school theater department chair stipend, and this is going to require a public performance. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so basically what I found out is that we had people who didn't have one of the approved positions, so they would just work out a deal where they took the money for that one and used it for like a theater production. So, for example, Cave Spring Middle School has a robust theater program, and the teacher is amazing. But truly, we shouldn't have been paying for somebody out of a unapproved on the pay plan stipend that you guys had not approved. So this just makes it legit. And if the middle school theater program, we want to support the performing arts. If they want to put on a performance, then we can give them some money to help with that, because it does take time.
Then the next item is, so I think it was last year we added into the budget CTE travel stipend for when they go to CTSO competitions with the students. Having gone through it for a year, we realized we didn't quite have enough money set aside for that, and so we do want to add that back in to ensure that we have enough set aside for these wonderful student events.
I can talk about that one too if you would like.
Go right ahead.
So much like the middle school situation, I uncovered that one of my assistant superintendents was brilliant, and where she didn't have, I think it was a yearbook or it wasn't a yearbook. What was it? Business. No, you had business. So basically, where she didn't have each of the approved positions, she was being creative, good for her, working with HR to then pay somebody else to represent all the departments that aren't represented under the department chairs we had approved. This puts it on the up and up. Everybody should have a representative as a department chair. So for some schools, the CTE person, the business one was what it was approved as. The business person was representing all the CTE programs. And then at other schools, they were just representing business and not representing CTE as a whole. And then our fine arts people had nobody watching them or representing them. So this makes it fair and equal and gives everybody a voice.
Okay.
We set aside some funds for paper and postage for student services. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. We have a printer in the print shop that is aging. It prints big posters for our schools, so we would like to replace that for $5,000. Increase the transportation in-service training budget for $1,800 for their back-to-school training, and then add $1,000 for the regional science fair for participating in that. So that'll take them up to $3,000 in total. Under our tier 2, we are going to add back the request for $250,000 to increase the CMP program. So this is a program that started $1 million, and we're trying to add $250,000 as a first-time add to really build that up. We really recognize that to bring a $500,000 to you for minor capital, when we could have more in CMP to prevent those from happening. That's where we're trying to turn our focus towards. During the original budget, we had asked for 3 BCBAs. We funded 2 of them, and we have the funds to fund the third one. So this will actually land us with having a BCBA in every magisterial district, which will really help to ensure that everyone has the training and the support that they need.
I know you guys want to leave, but can I elaborate on that one too?
Oh, absolutely.
So this allows us, like Susan said, to have each magisterial district having a BCBA. But the point of that BCBA is to train the trainer, right? So they can't be the person that goes in and magically solves whatever challenge the school is facing. They go in and work with the school staff to figure out, okay, let's look at the behavior, let's figure out a way to work with this, and let's figure out a plan. And there's a support system. This would allow more personalized attention for each district. It allows Beth to divvy it up more, and we have one for preschool, which hopefully the earlier we intervene, the less we need people later down the line. So that's the reason that I put that on the priority list.
The next item was a priority on the original list, and we did fund it, but we put it out to bid, and some of the bids are coming back a little higher, and so we wanted to add $25,000 for the Opportunity Ready portfolio.
I was just going to say, do you want to say something about why we're doing that?
Yeah, because the Opportunity Ready portfolio platform, as it is right now, we're storing it in OneDrive. right? Well, when the kid graduates, they don't have access
Yeah,
to it
it
anymore.
goes away.
So by doing this, we can do several things. And Mike, Mr. Riley, feel free to chime in. But this will allow us to track like what classrooms kids are collecting resources from, so that we can make sure. That's one way to kind of eliminate the teacher lottery, is to try to help and encourage teachers that aren't providing kids with those opportunities. Number two, they are definitely able to take it with them. And with that being the case, it really will help with college applications, presentations after that, because it's a collection of their works all the way through. So if we truly value the Opportunity Ready mission, then we got to put like you said earlier, we got a budget that shows where our values are, and this is a perfect example of that.
And we've seen what other schools, when we've done the Carnegie across the country, what other people have done similar to that. And I think we need to be on that same page.
Yep. It's just a better tool to make it more effective.
Okay. The next item is $9,000 to purchase scanners for various folks here at Central Office and for several bookkeepers. We are doing this in anticipation of being requested to scan source documents into the financial system for the county. We've been using this heavily on the bookkeeper side to streamline getting documents from each of the schools up here. We actually use the SharePoint. We have a folder set up for all the bookkeepers, and they scan in all their bank reconciliations, and so we share information back and forth. And so this just makes it easier, and they're not jumping up and getting in the middle of the copier that all the teachers are printing to, and it's just right there at their desk, and they don't have to go anywhere. And so this would just streamline, kind of moving towards a more paperless environment, which we all know is kind of where we're heading anyway. And then the last amount was teeny amount for the Student Advisory Council to help with their retreat.
They requested $500 to help Mr. Martin fund their retreat, so we decided that we should put our money where our mouth is and give them $500. Otherwise, Dr. Poland was going to have to give them $500 out of her newfound $15,000 coffin.
Cut her already.
Yeah.
So you get 14,500.
No, she only gets
Just
half of
kidding.
it.
I'm kidding.
All right, so that's it for the priorities. I did want to show where these 2 pay plan changes would fall into. So back on your academic supplements page on the pay plan, you would add the performing arts and CTE department chair to the high school, and then the theater for performance over on the middle school side. And then I've got 2 slides here for on the horizon, so kind of where we're going. In the short term, we would provide and request adoption of this budget and the pay plan at our next scheduled work session. We will present the budget to the Board of Supervisors on September 8th and have them request that they adopt the ordinance on September 22. So that's kind of a short timeline for moving forward with the current budget. And it's never too early to start thinking about the next year's budget, because we'll be coming right back around to that before you know it. So I did want to, just kind of make you aware of some high dollar items that we may have to make some hard choices to ensure that we can cover them. We don't know what's going to come down the pike with the county revenue and the SROs. These are 2 unexpected things that did occur this year, so we just don't know. The state has already put in place a 4% raise for next year, so we definitely want to give that, and we always want to try and do more if we can. Paid FMLA is a new law that's coming out, and it's in effect starting next January after that. So it'll be January of the year of this budget. So we'll only have a half a year. However, that can be very costly. When I did some immediate estimates, if we pushed half of the cost to the employees, it would still cost us about $600,000 to fund for a full year. So that's not going to be a cheap new regulation coming down. Health insurance is always a gamble for us right now, but I will say it looks like all that you have done in the past 3 years, we are building our reserves back up, and I feel very comfortable and confident that we're getting into a good place with our health insurance reserves. We had about $500,000 for the textbook adoption that we did not set aside this year that we were hoping to. We're going to have to put that in for the next year for them to be able to afford the resources that they need to implement next year. When I talk about next year now, I'm not talking about FY27, I'm talking about FY28. So pardon my mixing up my words. Fleet replacement, it's been a while since we have been able to set aside that money. So for a couple of years now, because of health insurance, we've robbed the fleet replacement fund to help with the health insurance. And so all that's doing is putting us further and further behind the ball. And the ultimate result of that is going to be our buses are aging and our parts costs are going to go up as we have to maintain them more. Right. And so we would love to be able to build that in quicker than later. Custodial contract is something that we're going to have to look at. They have requested a meeting to talk about pricing for the 28 contract. And so, it's always a very expensive part of the budget. So it's just something we'll have to keep on in the back of our mind. We've been hearing from the federal government that Title I may be declining in funds, that Title II and III is at risk of going away altogether. I've not heard anything recently. That was the last that I had heard. The 2 and 3 could be, up to $500,000 hit on us. 2 is for PD programs, and 3 is for the English learner students. And then 2 other things that we do want to take a look at, and this isn't on the costing side, but it's on the billing side, and that is transportation billing. We've not taken a look at the overhead that we charge for field trips in quite some time, and so we really need to sit down and look at that, and also what they charge external party members on an hourly rate to kind of rent our buses for events. And then facility use fees. I know Mr. Kagos has already taken a look at some of the churches that we have now to determine. I don't think we've changed those fees in quite some time, and so we want to make sure that some of these are set up so that we cover our costs. And if we don't get it into the rotation to review these fees on an annual basis, 5-10 years can go by, and now we're collecting money on 10-year ago prices, and we're not covering our costs anymore. And so we just want to take a look at some of these additional things. So all of these are kind of things that we're going to be thinking about going forward, looking at the FY28 school year budget. So that's all I got.
Questions? All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Do we have anything else?
Thank y'all for all coming to convocation. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think it went really well.
Very good. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Meeting adjourned.